watch the step cook.
You want 17 birds? Big ring, I play for the 17 birds. Hit my line if you want 17 birds. Big ring, I play for the 17 birds. I know a guy if you want 17 birds. Big ring, I play for the 17 birds. I know a guy if you want 17 birds. Big ring, I play for the 17 birds. Yeah, I'm from the 17.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. Lil Brunson back at you with the back at you, and I'm the best reporting on the Eagles. Before we get into the meat and potatoes, I'm going to just say shout out to y'all, man. Shout out to y'all. Big print champs in the building. You already know the vibes with that. Let's get into it, man. So the Philadelphia Eagles are on the wild pursuit of finding the next defensive coordinator to lead this defensive unit. And you know, it's a lot of change that we want to see. This one guy, I'm not sure if he's already interviewed for the position. I'm not sure if they're thinking about interviewing, whatever the case may be. His name is popping up hot on the trail for the next Philadelphia Eagles defensive coordinator, and we're going to talk about him right here. You might like what you hear, man. Wisconsin Badgers defensive coordinator Jim Leonhard. Jim Leonhard of the Wisconsin Badgers. He was a defensive coordinator for 5 years there. Then he switched over to interim head coach. I'm guessing the coach got fired or something like that. But, you know, this dude was a difference maker while he was there. You know what I mean? And Leonhard's first 5 seasons as defensive coordinator, UW has ranked among the nation's top 5 in total defense and top 10 in scoring defense 4 times. So that's 4 out of the 5 years he was there that he had these guys in the top 5. You know what I mean? This guy, you know, it is a real deal, man. During that time, the Badgers ranked 3rd in scoring defense, 17.3 points per game, 1st in total yards, 284 yards. It's crazy, man. The immediate impact that this guy, as I read more about him, the immediate impact that he's given to that program over there in Wisconsin, it can't be thrown under the radar, man. It can't be thrown. In 2019, I believe that was his first year, they had 4 shutouts. You know what I mean? That's the first time that something like that happened at the collegiate level since the 60s. You know what I mean? 4 shutouts in one season, man. He was on the road to, you know what I mean, building an elite defense. Now, Wisconsin is a great school, but, you know, I haven't really heard of too many 5-star recruits, you know what I mean, that has went to the NFL out of Wisconsin. What this guy is able to do is take a lot of 3-star recruits, 4-star recruits, and get them guys draft placements. The most notable guy is Leo Chenal. Just won a Super Bowl with the Kansas City Chiefs. I was high on Leo Chenal. You know what I mean? As a linebacker, I thought we needed linebacker depth. I even wanted him over Nakobe Dean, and you can see why I would think that, because of where he came from and where he learned the game, and he also played a big role in the Super Bowl. So you know what I mean? He was definitely worth the pick. He's had a 3-star recruit in last year's draft in Leo Chenal, a 2-star recruit in Matt Hemmingson, and another 3-star recruit in Faion Hicks last year, all get drafted. So this guy is taking the talent that he's getting and just making the best out of it. He had a player get about 20 pass breakups. I mean, this guy is really good at adjusting. That's a big thing for us. We need to know if our next defensive coordinator can adjust, and can he get the most talent out of a roster that just doesn't have that eye-popping on-paper talent. Jonathan Gannon had talent out the wazoo last year. Come on, he had eye-popping talent last year, but he wasn't able to get the most out of that talent sometimes. Now, a lot of people will make the excuse and say, well, Jonathan Gannon isn't the one touching the field. That may be true, but the facts of the matter is this. It's Jonathan Gannon's job to get that side of the ball ready to play. And with the names that we had, man, I just didn't see John. I mean, it's no excuse. It's no excuse for Jonathan Gannon not to have those guys playing, you know what I mean, a better game than they played. But, you know, Jimmy, I like it. I like what Jim Leonhard brings to the table. You know what I mean? Young, 40 years old, was a former player in the National Football League, safety of 10 years. I think he was drafted by the Broncos, or he finished his career. Last time I remember hearing about him, he was a player for the Denver Broncos. I mean, the guy was an All-American. You know what I mean? Became the first All-American for Wisconsin in his sophomore year since 1947. I mean, when you read up about this guy, you could just read up the legacy and the attention to detail, and you understand how this guy views the game and how important the game is to him. We need a guy like that so these type of things can trickle down to this depth chart and this roster, because it's important that we can find the guy that can squeeze the most talent out of the roster, for the simple fact that we don't know what our defensive roster is going to look like. The offensive side of the ball is pretty solid and pretty locked up, but this guy can get the most out of a roster. I believe if he would have had the last year's team, the previous team, that we made the excuses for Gannon not being able to, get the talent to turn around, this guy can do it. You know what I mean? This guy can get the best out of Nakobe Dean. This guy can get, the best out of Jordan Davis. We need a guy like that who can relate to these younger guys. Like I said, he's only 40. He probably could possibly extend some careers for some guys and get the best out of, Davion Tellers, Blankenships, some guys that we definitely going to need to step up next year. So let me know what y'all think in the comments about the hire. I think it's going to be a good move if we do go this way. I'm not opposed to it. I didn't really want a college defensive coordinator, but this is a guy that I would trust with the defensive side of the ball for the Philadelphia Eagles for sure. So like I said, let me know what you think in the comments, man.